Well, in other entertainer, celebrity, YouTuber news, the Ace family are getting divorced.
Yeah,
How you feel? I never watched them. I'm
I
not
didn't really
familiar
watch them
with like
either.
that whole YouTube family
I'm
type
very
thing.
familiar with them, but I didn't watch them. If
But
that makes sense.
you definitely were more on the YouTube couple side of things. So
Yeah, and I never really like. I will be honest with you. I never really enjoyed couple content at all. I'm just nosy, so a lot of times I would just watch it because I'm like, what do people like about the Ace family? So now let me see why people like them. Or like with De'Aaron and Ken, I'm like, okay, like they travel and they do a lot of interesting stuff. So let me see what they're doing. But the lot of relationship cringy stuff, I hate it. Like I hate the cringe challenges. Like I know I'm not. I'm just not into cringe stuff, you know. So I'm not gonna lie, I never was really into couple content like that. But I did watch it sometimes just out of curiosity to see what people were doing because like I just wanted to steal their ideas of like travel and trips. The Ace Family, I it was just like it's because it was we never seen nobody do that. That was like a new thing. The whole couples content on YouTube. We didn't see that before because the world of YouTube before them was makeup YouTubers, tutorials like the Bethany Modas of the world, like hauls, you know. But then that transition in like the 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, where there was vlogs and a couple channels, like, that was just a big thing. And I was nosy because we were seeing them the same way Charlie D'Amelio blew up was the way the Ace Family was blowing up on YouTube. Millions of subscribers like every month, like just going up. And so it was just almost like you were just curious. So I
yeah,
used to just watch sometimes to see like they had like when they had their huge house, the house tour.
yeah,
Like I want to see the house because I'm nosy. Like I want to see what this YouTube money is doing for people. But I never cared for the actual content, the couple content. So I don't really know how their relationship was, but I do know that there were like times where
this is all alleged.
this actually happened. Like where she was posting like Catherine's her name, posted YouTube videos that were accidentally like not edited, and then there was clips of
Yeah,
like
I do.
him like spazzing out or like just being talking to her like wild, and we're like people were like whoa like. So it's like obviously I don't think relationship nobody's relationship is perfect because I'm a realist, but I do think there was a lot of stuff she was like probably letting slide. Like I heard he was just not a good person. Like brother, his brother's ex girlfriend, who's his niece's mom, because he has nieces from his brother's kid. They had a really messy breakup. Her name was Shyla, and she exposed a lot about the family, about the brothers, about how they do weird stuff and like they cheat all the time and like they're the brother was abusive. Not the one I got just went through the breakup, but I was going through the divorce. But the brother that went through the breakup, he was abusive. There's a lot of them with the dad doing like cheating together. It's just like a lot of weird stuff. So I'm not really shocked. I think a lot of people's relationships aren't genuine. I think honestly, when you see people who get together quick and then have their kids and start families so quick, it's kind of destined to fail, in my opinion, because you didn't really get to know each other and like form a real bond. And it works with people, right? Some people get lucky, but I don't think a lot of people do. I think they jump into a relationship and they had their kid. Maybe it wasn't planned, right? Then they saw they made an empire. So
Yeah,
that's money. Money's keeping you together. And then you also feel like you have so much invested, so it's harder to leave. But I'm not surprised. I think they reached their peak with YouTube a long time ago. I think, like you see, Diarra has success on her own. I think Catherine and maybe not Austin, but maybe so because he has his personality could find success on their own. I'm sure their money is kept away enough and stacked away enough that they're set for maybe life. You know. I know people be posting on Snapchat now. 'Cause I heard that's like the new bag.
you're the moneymaker.
So I know they are on there. But yeah, I'm not really shocked. I think a lot of relationships are not real. I think people would be surprised to know how a lot of these
Yeah,
relationships are behind the scenes. They're just holding it together for the money. And Austin does give me like, I don't know. I never liked his personality, the way he acts. He's very weird to me. And yeah.
yeah. To speak further on that, like relationships being fake thing, this is definitely not just applicable to the money, but I definitely, I definitely see like within our relationship, it's kind of like because you were saying how people get together quickly and then they immediately like jump in,
Yeah.
have kids, like they're fully invested into this one person just so immediately. One thing that I've appreciated about our relationship is that like I don't think that there's anything that I don't know. Like in terms of, and not terms of like everything you've ever done in your life. That's not what I mean. Like, because that's not necessarily knowing somebody, but just in terms of knowing you as a person, like who you are personally, like your chemical makeup, like your personality, all those different deep intricacies about yourself. Knowing those different things is such a I would say a blessing to know, because that's what the basis of any real solid relationship should be.
Yeah.
And
it takes a while to really learn that.
right, and based on our experiences, it does take a while to like really truthfully know somebody to that level where you're not going to have an instance where you feel like you like the idea of somebody basically,
Yeah.
and then you want to be fully invested in them, but you don't really know them. Like you like the idea of them, like you know the idea of them, but you don't really know them for real. And I feel like in our case, we are definitely not anywhere like that at all. Like,
Yeah, like imagine us having kids or getting married, like when we were,
dear God,
2 years into our relationship. We didn't really know each other even 2 years in.
Not that we wouldn't still be together, but
Yeah.
what I would tell anybody,
It would have definitely caused
it would have been like
a lot of tension.
horrible,
Because now
bro.
you're dealing with trying to raise a child and all the, like, you know, I was watching my nephew today, like, or our nephew, right? You could say our. And like it was stressful, like when he was crying for those moments. So imagine dealing with that with somebody who you don't really even know like that. Like I feel like dealing with that together now, we would be fine because we know each other. We know like our strengths and weaknesses. But trying to like develop that relationship still with the person and still get to know them while you're trying to also raise a family, it's just
Right, and
not
all-
realistic. Or and maintain a marriage, because people get married and they don't want to get divorced because it's like failure to them. But it's like you should never got married anyway with somebody you don't know.
Right, and then also trying to learn yourself in that process too.
Yeah.
Like that's the other part of relationships that people don't really take into account. You really need to learn yourself too. It's not just
Yeah, at the same time.
this is how I immediately feel, so this is how whatever should go. Like realistically, you should be taking time to learn yourself, and not just flow through life and just like have the only thing that needs to be fixed is like your the other person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like no, you need to work on yourself, learn yourself too, in addition to learning your partner and learning how both of you can come together and learn how your
Yeah.
relationship will work. So it's definitely something that I definitely don't take for granted, why I wanted to bring it up. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like a lot of people's relationships are definitely fake for the wrong reasons. Of course, money is one thing. People getting in relationships for the aesthetics is another thing.
Yeah, everybody wants to make couple content. Everybody wants to take pictures and vacations,
Date nights and all that kind of
date
stuff.
nights, get a bouquet of roses. Like everybody just likes the idea of relationships and how it looks and how it sounds, but don't actually know what it takes to have a successful relationship.
Right. Yeah, you definitely got to take that time to really learn the partner and like learn if
The
you're
same way you
compatible.
would learn your friends. Like people, I don't know why people treat friends and relationships like they're so different. Like you, the same way you would deeply, and some people don't really truly probably know their friends though.
No, definitely not.
But the way you should deeply like actually know your friends and get to know all aspects of them is the same way you should treat your partner.
Right. And then in these type of situations, this is definitely something I feel like, and again, we've reiterated on this podcast a bunch of times, but just for the sake of if this is being clipped anywhere, to reiterate, like, yeah, we don't know these people.
Yeah.
All we can do is go based off of publicly available information. So I don't know what they've been like behind the scenes. I don't
Yeah.
know the relationship. I wasn't a fly on the wall. I have no clue.
Yeah.
But what I will just assume based on what we know is that like this would be one of those instances. Just jump into something extremely quickly, blind faith, and then
Yeah.
also a ton of money gets thrown into it. And
Because they probably couldn't, you can't anticipate fame.
Right.
So they was making videos like, oh, cute, we have starting a family, and like, and now you blew up, and now you're probably same with De'Ara and Ken. Now you kind of got to stay together.
yeah, and
Who
money
wants to say goodbye to millions?
money is the great exposer
Yeah.
of how people are. And I know some people have the belief that money makes you evil or changes you. To me, I think
It just
you're
exposes
who
it.
you are,
Yeah.
and it just will highlight who you are. And so I think this was inevitable, whether they got famous or had money or not.
Yeah. And he was in a lot of like a cheating scandal.
Alleged, and this is all alleged
Yeah.
and just based off of my own opinion, based off of publicly available information. And I will reiterate again, I don't know these people, so yeah.
Yeah, and we don't
But-
know how she was. Like, we don't know who.
Yeah, we don't know-
initiated the
we don't know
divorce,
anything,
right?
really. Yeah.
Because she has rumors of being like a part of Taz Angels, which was like I'm not really sure have a lot of details on that, but that's how she. People assume that's how she got linked with Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if you know they dated. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a whole. If you deep dive into her? There's a whole thing about her being like
I don't want to deep dive.
a Taz Angels.
Shout out,
Yeah, she dated Michael B. Jordan.
Not shout out to Taz Angels, but shout out to that time period because that's definitely something the younger audience wouldn't be familiar with.
I wasn't really familiar with that either, but that's
Really?
why apparently her and Chantel Jeffries were really like close friends. Cause you know her, Chantel
Yeah.
Jeffries, like she was in it. Yeah, look, this was them.
Interesting.
Yep. Ace Family girl.
Yeah, man.
They were literally like a whole couple. Like it's crazy. Or they was, you know, they were seen with each other, but people were assuming it was a Taz Angels hookup. But
That was definitely a time. Like I remember that. Not really. It's funny because I was a lot younger when I was going on and a lot more naive. So it wasn't like my mind immediately went to what it actually is or was. I don't know if it still exists.
yeah.
But you guys can infer. I don't know what we're allowed to say or not say on here, but you guys can infer what kind of group it was. But I definitely remember on social media seeing them all the time. But
Yeah,
just
correct.
assuming it was just like a social group, I guess. But y'all can.
They've always just seen with rappers. Like this was her. Like you see that's Catherine right there
Yeah.
with Chantel and Tyga. Like they would always just see with rappers, and then it was just alleged that there was like stuff happening
Yeah.
with them
Interesting.
being connected. Yeah, and then now she tried to rebrand herself as. But that's the
Hey,
thing
man.
that's funny. Where I feel like sometimes people are just destined for fame. Cause how do you have that and then now your YouTube blows up like.
Yeah. Well, because you're in that environment
Yeah, you're in that entertainment space. So.
and in that state that.
Yeah. So I said that I brought that up because like who knows like how she is and some of her morals, right?
Yeah, who knows?
Like maybe they just both had issues and that's they both. But I think based off what we've seen, he seems someone that's more likely maybe the cause of the divorces based off the rumor stuff that came out. But it could have been either one of them, and I just feel like I'm not shocked by it. I
Yeah.
feel like they were married for a long time, but sometimes things come to an end, and I think they're both set with money. It's just interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah. Yep, the house is listed currently, I believe,
Wow.
based on the bankruptcy.
Did I tell you that one time that someone won a Range Rover that lived in Phillipsburg?
Yeah, and then they filmed the
Isn't that
video there.
crazy? So anybody listening, they had a whole giveaway of somebody who won a Range Rover. Like they had millions and millions, like tens of millions of subscribers, and it so happened to be the person that won. It was in the town I went to high school in, Phillipsburg, New Jersey, small town USA. They literally was driving on Route 22, right across from the shop where I worked at, like where they were standing outside waiting, like talking about introing their video. They were standing literally at this church that was like on Route 22, like 2 minutes from my house, like where I grew up at. So random and weird, but like that's so crazy. Of all people around this whole country, Phillipsburg, and if anybody knows Phillipsburg, that's like kind of hoodish. So a Range Rover in the hood is crazy.
Phillipsburg is hoodish.
It's not hoodish, but it's like it's rural hood. It's like I wouldn't even call it hood. It's just like disheveled kind of. It's like I don't know. It's just grungy. You know Phillipsburg. Have you ever actually drove through Phillipsburg though?
Yeah.
No,
I was in them streets.
you didn't. No.
Them country bumpkin streets.
Yeah, it's still country bumpkinish, but it still is like you got the meth addicts. Like it's still like white trash, and black trash too. Like small town USA. They gave the wrong person a Range Rover. I'm just saying the wrong city, but they didn't know that any better.
Yeah. Well, I think the death of the YouTube family,
Couple channels.
metaphorically, of course, metaphorically, the death of the YouTube couple channels and that whole family, like the family channel thing, it's been dead, but like this is kind of like the eulogy, I guess.
Yeah, even though we start seeing it in a way succeed on TikTok, but in different ways. Like I think the whole pranks and the cringe. Hey, we're the Ace family. Come to our house.
Yo,
like
you
all
know
that
what's
whole
so funny?
cringe era, I think is over.
What's so funny is like, imagine I can't imagine somebody doing that with like no audience.
Yeah,
It's like it only makes sense when you have an audience, if that makes sense. But at
Yeah.
the same time, to get that audience, you have to do it.
Yeah.
But that just always seemed funny to me. Hey, we're like trying to set up as if you're popping, but you're not popping yet.
yeah.
But get it how you live. But yeah, it definitely seems like people aren't like there's a transition away from that.
Yeah, because YouTube in general is just transition.
But
Like YouTube is still always going to be a thing, I feel like, but it's definitely TikTok and more faster paced content is what's in now. So
yeah, at the present moment, until somebody else comes around and does it, and then people act
go
like it,
back.
people act like it's a brand new concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely is a shift on YouTube because you saw a lot more of that stuff before.
Yeah.
But I think maybe people got back invested with like almost like with information they don't know, like with the tabloids. Like people got more invested in families of entertainers, and it like they're more paying attention to those kind of families with less information that they have. Like they'd rather pay attention to like a celebrity than a
Yeah.
YouTuber. If that like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'll like conceptually they'll be like, oh, okay, like Don Toliver just announced his pregnancy with Callie. So like people are more invested in that, which people always were with celebrities, but I
Yeah.
feel like people are just deviating back to how that used to be with like the tabloid era. But yeah, definitely. I guess this marks the end of the era. Like I said, I was never one of the ones to watch these kinds of
Yeah.
channels, but
They're like,
to see the bigger people
yeah,
finished,
it's
I would
crazy.
assume it's over.
Yeah, because people like the Ace Family and DR and Ken were like the two, like really the two heavy hitters. Like, and a lot of these couple channels have fell apart, but they were definitely one of the two bigger ones. Obviously, the Ace Family was probably one of the biggest to do it with the family stuff. The Family Channel, I think they probably were the biggest to do it.
Was the content actually good?
I don't know. I never really watched it, but it was. I mean, I guess I could see how it's entertaining, especially to younger kids. I could see it, but cause they did like a lot of random stuff, like and they would do the wild stuff. They would come in the first people to do like the wild stuff. Like 'cause Austin, like the dad, he was a more like outgoing, crazy one. So I don't know, like if you remember this like scandal, but like he had, you know, one of those invisible infinity pools, whatever. What do you call them? Like where it looks like
the infinity pool.
yeah, it looks like it's go over the edge.
Yeah.
And he put a jet ski. He had a jet ski in the pool,
Yeah,
and the
and
water
the
was
water
splashing to the
splashing,
neighbor.
yeah.
So he would just do outlandish, crazy stuff like that, like big bubble house in the backyard, like you know, just very
Yeah.
family friendly content, and it just made people like want a family. And it just was cool seeing kids. People like are weirdly obsessed with kids, like oh, we love her, she's so cute. Like you know, people just wanting to see. Even they got they were so big they got to a point where Kylie literally did their gender reveal. Kylie Jenner did
Wow.
their gender reveal for the second kid, like it's on YouTube and everything.
So they were doing their thing.
They were doing everything. They were probably literally, like I said, the biggest. Like I'm sure I gotta see what their subscriber count is, but they were. I think they were the biggest like family channel. And then like DR and Ken were like one of the biggest black couple channels. So it's like it's crazy that this is the end of era.
They had to be the number one black channel. Black
They are,
couple channel.
yeah.
Yeah, they had to be. And there's no way they weren't.
The Ace Family has 18.4 million subscribers. That's a lot.
Jeez. Good
They were
God.
they were getting to a bag for sure.
And they probably still will.
And their most popular video was 40 million views. 33 million. Yeah, and they were the one of the first to do the whole labor and delivery type videos. Like they were big with that. Like so
So they were the-
showing you like I'm in the hospital, showing you what it's like to give birth, the process of it, you know.
Yeah, so they were really the like what's the word?
Like the
Pi- the
innovators, yeah, the
pioneers.
pioneers.
The
But then they
pioneers.
also got a lot of like controversial takes because then it kind of came up the whole concept of pimping out your kids, having
Right.
kids for content. That's where a lot of that came from. So it's definitely like an end of an era, and it's crazy to see like them end. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not saying I'm surprised, but it's just crazy to see like an end of like an era.